G'day, doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's episode 30, round 25, I think. Yep, round 25 of the NRL season. The last three games, the last phase. We're 0-1 in this last phase. It's time to even the ledger, to beat the Storm in Melbourne at Amy Park on Friday. Should be a fast track. Shouldn't get any rain, maybe a little shower on the Friday before the game, but that's it. But hopefully there'll be nothing. G'day to everyone who's joined so far. I'll wait for a few people to come on. Just got to share it around a little bit. I'm running a little bit late tonight and try to be a little bit more organised so I'm not going for 2 hours and 45 minutes and answering people's questions an hour and a half after they ask them. So I do apologise about that, but doing my best. Hope everyone's well. Lots to talk about. We've got a player extended, which is fantastic. And I've mentioned a few times that I thought this player might get extended. I only thought there would be potentially one player from those remaining off contract to be extended, and this is the one that I think has been in Daniel Saluka-Fafita, which is fantastic. Another pre-season for him, plus all the exposure he's had this year. He's going to hopefully continue to add to those minutes and be a longer minute playing middle, which is what we need. It's about who can be trusted to make the tackles, make the hit-ups for as long as possible, are going to take precedence in this rugby league team. G'day, Brian. I love you too, mate. G'day, Noah. G'day, Rhett. You having a good time, Rhett? That's good, brother. Someone said there's a stat that if team beat Storm this season, they go on to lose the next week. And honestly, I'd rather beat Panthers just for the revenge. Oh, well, stats are made to be broken. There is also a stat that the Dogs have not lost a match when being underdogs this year. So in the 3 games we've been the underdogs, we have won the match. So it says, I love that DSF was extended, expecting to play this week, I reckon, potentially. Oh, and g'day. No, g'day to you as well, my friend. G'day, doggies for life. Up the Dogs. And welcome to Snopsay. It was the first on tonight, so you win the prize of my gratitude. And gratitude was second. So there you go. But just going to share this around a bit, guys. I do apologise, but there are a few people who don't get notifications, they tell me, and there's people that get way too many. But at the end of the day, that's okay. So I'd like to know, this could be a bit weird though. Actually, I might do it from, sorry guys, for the technicalities. Keep saying hello, keep posting your stuff. G'day, Gasson, welcome, and safe travels, my friend. I look forward to seeing you when you get back. People have probably asked you already, but how do you feel about Reid Marnie not starting? It has been talked about. Look, if I'm just running a team, I'm probably starting Reid, but because we've had to fast track not having him next year, which is us giving him what he wanted, people need to understand that. We've had to fast track Bailey Hayward, and hence why we need Reid Marnie or Jake Turpin on the bench to have someone who can throw a quick ball off the deck and smash blokes in the middle if need be, if Bailey gets injured. We don't want to mess up our rotations with Mann and Salmon and have them play hooker, because it just throws everything out. So it's better to have that. And Turpin and Marnie can do a lock job just as good. I don't know what the issue is of why people talk like that. But anyway, it's if you can tackle Payne Huss 1-on-1 and dump him on his ass and pick up Tino and drive him back 1-on-1, you can play a lock. Okay? And Reid sometimes joins the line as a lock when he's not a dummy half and engages and passes. Remember, he used to cop a lot of crap for it, like he was deliberately doing it. But Yeah, just having a few internet issues at the moment. So trying to sort that out. That's not where. Oh, there we go. Well, it won't be too much longer. I do apologise, guys, but I didn't want to keep you waiting too long. But we will get this sorted. So, how's everyone been? I've got some good news about the Bulldogs. Well, it's good and bad news. There was genuine reasons why our team looked like they were in another, like made it look like that we were just incompetent in the middle. And this is what I said in the review. Like, there's obviously something wrong. There was obviously injuries or something was wrong with a couple of our players. Jacob Carraz doesn't make 80 metres, guys. Even when we're not winning the middle. Like, he was getting some balls and what didn't have the punch he normally has. Now, there's a problem. Presto didn't look, there was Presto and people saying, oh, he doesn't look like he's playing that well. Well, he still made a heap of tackles, but, his runs probably lacked a little bit. He didn't really threaten as much. Was there something wrong there? What about, Max King playing 30 minutes and Sam Hughes having to step up? That just doesn't make sense. Why would we do that? Why would that happen? And why would Max King only make 40 metres when he makes 145 minimum as an average? It doesn't make sense, guys. And as I talked about, that energy, when it comes out of a couple of players, when they're not at their normal level, everyone else has got to make up for it. Now, sometimes it can be offset because you get some players which have, career best performances or they really step up. But, just not enough against a side like the Roosters. And it really cost us big time. Really cost us big time. So there we go. But look, I'm quietly confident we're going to go to Melbourne and put in a really good performance. I'm very confident, actually, that there will be a massive statement made by the Bulldogs this week. So while everyone wants to sit there and, I shouldn't say everyone, but I read some posts from some fellow doggies podcasts and stuff and like, oh, that was disgraceful. Everyone's got a right to be outraged. No, you don't. You can be disappointed. And I suppose you've got a right within your own home, but you don't have a right to go and start telling the world that, oh, we're shit and we're disgraceful. And at least all I'll say is that Cameron Ciraldo has this way of, if you don't understand why something's happened or you can't understand a performance, it has a way of revealing itself in time. Okay? And another thing, we can win the next 3 games or lose the next 3 games. It doesn't mean anything. We could win 24 games in a season, then lose the next 2 semi-finals. No precedent guarantees success or failure. Okay? Obviously, it's nicer, though, if we to win these 3 games. It'd feel fucking fantastic. It would be the absolute best if that was to happen. But if it doesn't happen, I still will be confident that the team would have learnt enough and built enough combinations and have enough belief that they can reset in the semi-final and go out there and blow a team off the park, because I've seen Bulldog sides do it. And this Bulldogs team has Bulldogs DNA, lots of it. All right? There's a lot of Bulldog about it. So there you go. I just saw the Montoya circumcision, and his missus was talking about it. Yes, stop sending us that thing. It's a fake meme. It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. We're almost done. So, all good. We can proceed. So, I'll quickly get through and catch up. You love that underdog stat. G'day, Peter. Let's keep the comments up to the narrative. Brian's comment had you laughing above. There he is. I think before kickoff, we'll have Satili in for Curran, Montoya for Anari, and possibly DSF for Hughes. Potentially. I don't think maybe just DSF comes in because he's just signed with the club, maybe, and maybe they just want to give him a run. But I can't see Sam Hughes dropping out of the side. He played 40 minutes last week, 37 the week before. They need to keep that up, and he wasn't a liability at any point. I know he got the ball taken off him one-on-one with 30 seconds to go when it looked like he was going to score a try. But, yeah. The only good thing about this week's game is, Adam G, we have a 100% win record with him against top 4 teams. Well, I've got some stats rolling along the bottom provided by D, which is fantastic. He refed us against Melbourne in 2022 when they beat us 40-0. And I think so it's 1-1 under Adam G, Bulldogs and Storm, and both were 40-point wins for either side, but going back a long time, Paps has scored. So we'll look at the teams in a minute. So Pappenhausen's on the extended bench. I think they'll have about 3 changes, and I think we'll have 2 changes. So we need to look at that. Tuala's got 4 tries in his last 4 games. Xavier Coates has scored 11 tries in his last 8 games at Amy Park. So they're just some ones there to look at. Sean Blaw's out for Melbourne. Yes. He scored the winning try last year. Now, a good thing to look at, and we might look at that pretty soon, people, is the team that lined up against the Storm in 2024. Now, the 2023 win in round 2, they did have a number of players out, and I'll never discount that. But they were heavy favourites, and we smashed them, and it was the unearthing of Jacob Preston. Like the full, we got to see, like, how good he was. Now, I expect Jacob to be absolutely on fire this week. I expect Jacob Carraz to be on fire, and I expect Max King to absolutely smash his little brother, Josh King. They're not related, but he's going to treat him like a little bro. That's what I expect. I reckon Nelson will play. I reckon they'll get him there for the game. He likes playing the Bulldogs. He'll be fired up. But Sayed says, let's not rely on the refs for a win. We need to complete minimal errors, penalties, and our line speed and chase needs to be on point. And that's the Bulldogs' way. That is the Bulldogs' way. What do you expect the game plan to be, the Melbourne Storm? Well, Sayed's not far off it, to be honest. It's pretty simple. Do all the stuff we do well. But we need to ask some questions, okay? And I expect they will. They're going to go out there. I don't think you'll see like an absolute ambush mentality in every sort of collision for the first few minutes. I reckon we're going to increase as we go, if that makes sense. Like a Thai boxer. They come out, feel it out, see what they've got. Might look a little bit weird for a bit. And then just, gradually increase the pace. Hold the ball. If we make 30 meters, so what? All the people saying we're too small will start yapping. We need another big man. I said it for half of last season or longer. So let's change the language of it. We need 80-minute players. The Bulldogs are developing 80-minute players. Okay, the ones that they've put into those positions. Josh Curran, has lost? I think he lost 10 or 12 kilos in the off season from 2023 into the preseason of 2024. He put on a bit of weight at the Warriors, but he got really, really fit. And he's busted himself for the club. So, but those sort of players, him, Harry Hayes, Satili Tupanua, they can play 80 minutes if they have to. Kurt Mann can play 80 minutes, but what they do is they get these guys going at 100 miles an hour. A lot of touches of the ball, a lot of desperate tackles, a lot of efforts chasing. You just watch these guys in a lot of games wherever there's been a line break against us or anything like that. And it was funny because when Salmon was out of the side, we were conceding a lot more line breaks through our team, especially during Origin and stuff. Since he's been there, they've got around us a couple of times. There's been some kick stuff. But, yeah, when we've got our communicators in defence, we're very hard to penetrate. Very, very hard. I think the closest I saw was Gutherson breaking through Burton. That was probably the worst defensive effort we've actually had. Obviously, Nafahu wide over Galvin, but I've been talking about that. The physicality of that young kid is going to develop. We can cover that for the most part, but last week was just a shit show because I'll tell you why. Max King, I've actually gone back and looked at footage and stuff like that and watching a lot of the blokes sniffing a lot. Now, I know they take them sniffing salts and shit, but it's come out that there was a virus that swept through. So you've got to ask yourself, why was Jacob Carrez so poor? Why was Max King making 40 metres? They were sick. So what the coach effectively did in the press conference was say, he's basically giving a message to the players. Now, the media and the Dogs fans have all had especially the drama queens and the Sooks have all had this big typical, we can't play a really good side with a bigger pack. And they start relating it to the last two games of last year when, as I said, we qualified for the finals. I was never worried at the time. Would have been nicer not to lose by as much, but we'll debut and, Eli Clark and these players. We won the battle in the semi. We just were piss poor with our discipline. Many blamed Marnie for it. But anyway, I keep going back there. The point is I want to say is this team, they were affected by sickness, and that illness affected everyone. Okay? We couldn't make up for it. Jacob Carrez, although it took him 7 or 8 weeks to come back from injury, if people remember, that injury is going to affect him probably for the rest of his life. And they're getting crunched at different times. Like people have got, they're carrying quad injuries, they're carrying foot injuries, shoulder injuries, forearm injuries, wrist injuries. But that's all part of the process, right? But if they're crook as well, I'm telling you. So what Ciraldo was saying is I'm not going to trust you guys to not be able to train. Next time, you'll sit out and we'll bring in these other guys and we'll play at full energy. We won't have our stars, but we'll do better than we did. And he owned it. But I can guarantee you at training this week that these players have been absolutely fucking killing it. And they'll be going even harder. And that'll be spreading across the board. Like, I can tell you there would have been a reaction, not just in first grade, but across the fucking board. And if you've heard stories about Canterbury over decades, it's the same expectation. Even when we sucked, right? They still ran a hardcore business inside those walls. And, they wouldn't have won any games if they didn't have that. I can tell you that now. It's It's just great. We're 15 wins this year. We can win some more games. Remember where we were. Look at the incline in performance and be fucking happy about it and know that it's going to keep going. Don't start with your little expectations saying, oh, we must win and this. Yeah, I want us to win. It'd be great. And that's exactly what the plan is. But sometimes you don't get what you want. But this team deserves nothing but fucking credit and praise for the performances it's put in. And more so, like people are saying, and some of you guys have said to me, and I agree, it's like we played semi-final football all the way through the season. Yeah, we did. We had to win, right? Because winning's not easy for us. Our culture was losing for so long, right? And players that come to our club, that's one of the fears. You get some good players that come to your club. If you don't start winning, they start forgetting how to win as well, right? So fucking thank God Crichton come when he did and all these players that they bought, those utilities and stuff that come from those systems, that'll, whether they're playing first grade or not, they know what, they know how hard they got to work, right? And it's been good. It's been good. There's more to go. We've got Storm this week. King's going to go out there and have a good game. Sam Hughes will continue to improve. And I expect to see, look, managing, if Satili Tupanua plays, it's either going to be Curran, Sam Hughes, Harry Hayes, or Reid Marnie that comes out of the side. I'm not sure. Could be a chance that Reid is swapped with a Jake Turpin, but I don't think that'll happen, but they might. And there could be a chance if King's still crook, for example, they might bring in DSF for King if he was ill. If Jacob Preston was ill, they might, push Curran out onto the edge and bring Satili in on the bench that way, or push Hayes out onto the edge. Like there's so much there's so much variation they can do, and I don't know what it'll be. But if they're all fit and Satili and Montoya are fit, I expect obviously Anari Tuala will come out for Montoya, unless Carrazza's still not 100%. And then, the other players that could come in, obviously what I just said before, Satili comes in, and one of those, like Kurt Mann, he's the only one that'll be staying in the side unless he's got an injury, right? Or an illness still, which can happen. But, I've seen teams where they've had illnesses through their teams and they've managed to win and all that sort of stuff. Like each thing's got to be taken on its merits. We don't know, but all I do is I praise the Bulldogs for not making an excuse on the day. And Critter sort of mentioned it quite softly. Like it's not like the fucking media have taken hold of it and said, oh, they're all sick. They've just continued to tag Lachlan Galvin in every fucking post that they do, right? Oh, yeah, they haven't got bang for. I'm backing Cameron Ciraldo, but I don't think Galvin's done better than Toby Sexton, and I think Ciraldo would know that. No. Our halves were doing quite well when Burton turned the game with that massive kick, another massive kick 2 in 2 weeks that went over the head of the Roosters winger, Tupu, I think. And that got us back in. And then we basically controlled the game for the next 13, 14 minutes and scored an easy try. Now, there was no issues with Galvin or Bailey Hayward or anyone in our team the week before. And there was no issues against Manly. As Gasson said, and I really liked don't break defence. Come up with this little saying that he thinks the media have this loser bias now where like they just know. They know what fans are saying. They know what fans are thinking. So the truth don't matter. Only the narrative matters. And whoever loses just cops it. Just bang, 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 bang. And there's just this bias towards anyone who loses a game. They win a game, They just moved to the other loser. But anyway. G'day, Timmy. Welcome. My brother from another mother. Hope you can shut down Coates. Well, I don't expect to shut down Coates, brother. What I expect is that we shut down, we do what we do. And, look, I expect that Pappenhausen will come into fullback and they'll either put Peze back onto the bench or Wishart. And I think the player that'll make way will be Bronson Garlick. He'll drop out of the squad. We actually might go to the squads while we're here. So let's get into it. Let's have a look at the squads, guys. So Sean Blaw's out. So it's the same 17 name for the Bulldogs, which people still, it drives me nuts. Oh, well, we're going to lose again, they say. They don't read that, that there's Toby, Jake, Daniel, Marcello, and Satilli in the extended bench, meaning there's either a fitness test or that they're just playing ducks and drakes. So I think Nelson Asafa Solomona and Pappenhausen will come into this side, which means that Paps goes to fullback, Munster to 5'8", and either Peze or Wishart to the bench. I think Bronson Garlick will drop out. And I think that Nelson Asafa Solomona will come in for Adevalu Lasati, is who I believe he'll come in for. And they'll leave the team as is from that point. With the Bulldogs, I expect that Montoya will be right and he'll come in for Anari Tuala. And we will see Satilli Tupanua come in for my gut's Josh, but any one of these players that were suffering from illness may still have illness or have injury. That it could be one of those, but we will see. And whoever they pick, I'll be happy with whoever they pick, because I know that this Melbourne side's going to have to play really fucking well to beat us. And if they don't, well, that'll be, one for the doubters and the haters and the media. But, I'm going to back this side like we always have, and stop this rhetoric of we're too small. We're developing our own players. We had to develop Max King. We had to develop Daniel Saluka Fafita again because he come with a massive ACL injuries. Okay. We've developed Jacob Preston. Right. Josh Curran was ready to go, lost a lot of weight, comes into the middle. Okay. We're developing young kids, Jack Underhill, Jack Todd, to be able to play minutes, Lipoi Hopoi to be able to play minutes, who will be part of our 30 moving on. We've developed Sam Hughes, and we've finally, for the first time in I don't know how many years, bought a NRL-ready big guy that can smash people and play long minutes. Okay? So it's all about how many minutes they can play. If they're a bit bigger, that's a help. But it's not about how big they are. It's how tough they are, how resilient they are, and how much stamina they've got. Okay? And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Like this Trent Liero, for example. How big is he? Doesn't probably tell you his weight, which sucks. But he looks pretty tall to me, and he's just continued to develop. And now he's likely, can play 80 minutes in that side. Big edge players. Joe Chan's been playing in and out of the centres. He's a big boy. Josh King was just an average type of player that got the best out of him. And Utoi Kamanu, very good talent. Played Origin this year. but I think we can get over the top of them. I'm worried about the Storm's offloads. I'm worried about their broken field play. I'm worried if we hang off them and show any sort of passiveness, they will run direct and they will put kicks up high. They will have us in two minds, and that's where we can fall apart. We want to keep them out of our red zone as much as possible and do what we do, and that's utilise our kicking game and play some footy that they don't expect. So a lot of the times last year, before we played Melbourne, I think in that side we didn't have King or Kurt Mann in that team. So this is the stuff that D told me. There was players like Chris Patolo, obviously Drew Hutchison, the big fellow we had last year instead of DSF, Farmer Silly, whatever his name was. He went all right. I think he ended up retiring at the end of the year. But he wasn't a bad player for us. Filled in a few times. We had Sam Hughes play last year. And Cherry got two beautiful balls off for the Fox. So we had our team wasn't as cohesive last year and it wasn't as talented. Obviously, though, that speed of the Fox on the left edge and Bronson Cherry, they all went to Bronson and he threw some beautiful balls to the Fox that got us the lead. And then obviously Sean Blaw scored past Gideon Katonga, which I've mentioned 100 times. So let's have a look at it. What are we saying? Referee performances matter. They certainly do. I'm quietly confident we can get the win against the Storm 1-12. G'day, Knox. Footy tipping, do you reckon I should go Dogs or Storm? I don't know, Noah. A lot of people like to go, back, tip the team that's playing us so that if the Dogs lose, your tip wins. Dogs win, your tip loses. It just depends how close you are to winning the comp, I guess. But usually the win-win is always the way to go. And then it's a draw and you lose on both. But I suppose a draw is pretty good when you're away from home against the Melbourne Storm. Timmy says offloads through the middle of the field from our outside backs will worry the Storm. I'm expecting a big performance from our forward pack this week. Yeah, so look, Kick-Out's been good the last couple of weeks with a run-first mentality. Still done a couple of offloads, but they've been quite safe. Perez last week, he wasn't right, and he started to take some shortcuts. He got smashed the first time he hit it up and then was looking to offload. In that situation, it's easy in hindsight, but it's just run the ball, Jacob. Take the medicine, run the ball, get the quick play the ball away, see what we can do. But I expect him to be just back to his best this week. Amir, Satilli is a big adds punch to it. He's a big in. Okay, sorry. My bad. Satilli is a big in. He adds punch to our middle. He certainly does, and he's more of an attacking sort of threat. He runs hard, he runs good lines, and he will cause oppositions to they're not gonna hold off. They're gonna launch into Satilli. So you want to get him one-on-one, but you also want to get him in scenarios where there's, he's running past a couple of blokes and I expect Galvin to go to him if he plays. I expect Burton to go to him, Kurt Mann, Salmon, Haywood off a short ball, one off. He runs with those legs high. He runs hard. He runs flat out. And he shows aggression. And he'll be out there to show aggression with his defence. And that's more so what I want to see from him. And just to create a little bit of doubt in their minds, a couple of tackle breaks will be good. And then we can utilise, Kickow and Burton and Cherry to create some space for Marcello in the corner. G'day, Michael. Put your house on the Dogs, he says, Noah. Man, last week, the Penrith-Melbourne game was such a good game. The ref not getting involved. Let's hope it keeps that way. Yeah, it would have been nice if Ashley Klein did that in Origin, wouldn't it? Would have been fucking fantastic. He would have been told, make sure this game flows. And he's like, okay. So he makes it flow. We didn't get that, not at all. But I think in reflection, our they just had the momentum because we were weakened so badly with illnesses and stuff. So I expect to bounce back big time. If Melbourne are good enough to win, that they made the grand final last year. They were heavy favourites for this year's title. They've barely been better than us, but no one's questioning their players at all. None. They've not been questioned at all. All they've said is, Melbourne haven't sort of put teams away as much as we thought they would. They're not going as good as we thought. That's about it. No pressure on individuals, none of that. Not like the Dogs. But I suppose you want to know why that is, because they're in Melbourne and the Bulldogs are on the news every week. All right? They're in the news every week. There's a story about the Dogs. They're on 360 every week. They're everywhere. And it's our fans who stop sharing the Fox articles. Even the good ones, I reckon. Just copy the stuff out of it and go post it somewhere else. Don't share the actual fucking article. All you're doing is promoting them in the algorithm. We want to promote them out and get until they change their tune and stop focusing on the noise of fair weather fans who just have a big carry on every time we lose. That's how you beat it. Well, we'll never beat it, but that's how you get improvements, I believe. By the way, every time we've gotten pumped by 13 plus this season, we would win 13 plus the week after. There we go. G'day, Joby. Welcome, my friend. And we will be getting some people on again shortly. We'll see Gas on the show a lot more when he comes back, and probably over the finals and next year. And Joby will be coming on quite a bit. Pete Noonan said he wanted to come on again, so we'll get him on. Timmy will always want to come on. Brad will come on occasionally, and I'm sure Big Mark will want to come on again at some point. And D potentially, hopefully. But look, I did a practice run today of Buzz 360, episode 2, which would be Buzz in the car talking to Braith and Esther. I made myself laugh, so that was a good sign, I think, laughing at myself. You can't laugh at yourself, what can you laugh at? But, yeah, I think some of you will like it, some of you will cringe, and others will be indifferent. But I'm doing it for the people who want that stuff and want to hear more from Buzz, the All Things Bulldogs version, Buzz 360. Buzz Rockfield from every angle, and believe me, it's not pretty. Supporters have changed over the years. My parents and grandparents after a loss said the boys tried their best. Always, Ross. That's it. My mum just used to say it. My mum used to be sitting there with 2 minutes to go, believing the Dogs could win when they were down by 20. I remember I'd say to Mum, I'm going out for the night. I can't help it. I have to go out. I'm taping the game. Don't tell me who won. I want to watch the whole game when I get home. And then I'll open the door and she'll trottle out and she'll go, oh, bloody Bulldogs. Tried so hard. I'll be like, so you just told me they lost, Mum. Thanks for that. Every time. Every bloody time. Anyway. Remember the last time that happened, we lost, I think it was 2008. So it's going back a long time, but we lost 52-0 to West or Para towards the end of the season. Just a little bit of nostalgia. Go the grind. Pappy on the extended bench. Will he come in? Haven't read into it. If so, Munster back into the halves. Nelson also. Seems like Ducks and Drakes. It is, Pete. It definitely is. So Paps he had a concussion. He has been troubled by a calf muscle injury all year, which is linked to his other injury that he had previously, it's constantly pissing him off. So he'll be fullback. Munster will be 6. Peze or Wishart will go to the bench. I think Wishart might actually go to the bench. I think they might try and use him as impact and get Peze in there trying to kick long and playing a control game of semi-final footy. I really believe that. They'll be trying to replicate what they want to do in September, in my opinion. And I know for a fact that Bellamy will not be taking this Bulldog side lightly. Like, he'll be prepared for the Canterbury sides that come down to Melbourne and pull their pants down. He's seen it happen too many times, and he'll be ready for it. And, but they can be ready for it. You know? They can be ready. Prepared an Origin side to beat Queensland, couldn't do it. He knew what that team was bringing. Full of his stars. Brian, man, way better than Salmon. Man. See, Brian, I'll tell you about how it works, and I've said this a few times. Kurt Mann plays us in a period of the game that is essential for us. Salmon is the mastermind of the defence and the communication in the defence early. Okay? That's what he does. And the team, and I know this is from the mouths of the team and the players, and people speak about this stuff who know what goes on. Okay, so this is just for you to learn. Because what you're saying means nothing. In your opinion, Man is better than Salmon. Guess what? In my opinion, Man is a better player than Jamin Salmon. I agree. But guess what? They play different roles within the team. While Man replaces Salmon and becomes the link in the attack, he gets the ball a lot more than Salmon when he comes on. He plays at a faster rate than Salmon, and he goes flat out, which really eats at his stamina. He's doing more in every set in attack and every set in defence than pretty much any other forward in the team. Whereas Salmon is there to absorb the intensity, to add weight to the tackles, to help drive them back, to lead the kick chasers, to do all that sort of stuff, right? Man is usually second man in the tackle, and he targets ribs and solar plexus and wherever he can cause damage. He's normally not the first one to hit. He will do it a few times, but he's mainly second man in, and he's the one that causes the pain, usually. They have that initial clash as they're slowing, and then he comes in and goes bang. If you watch it, that's what happens. And I've seen games where the players have got up slow to play the ball like 4 or 5 times. For him to do that for about 30 minutes to 35 minutes, he's going flat out, right? Now, we might choose to start him at different times, but that's all about mixing up our game, trying new things, and a bit of element of surprise, and maybe to get a bit more leg speed early if we need that. But for the most part, the game plan is Salmon goes out there, communicates really well with the defensive line, does his thing. He cops it in the back. He engages the defense and passes the ball. He does it quite well. We score points while he's out there, but we score more points in that next period, okay? When they bring on Man and then they bring on Haywood. When there's a bit more space and a bit more time because players are slowing down. There's less sting in the attack. Less consistent sting, you still get your big hits and whatever else. But that's the go, dude. Like, this business, we play Salmon too long. Why do we only play Man? Learn why they do it. Ask why do they do this? And then start to see what they're doing and see how effective it is. 15 wins. 14 of those wins, we made way more meters than the opposition, averaging 200 the year, averaging 200 more meters than we concede. That's not made up. That's through hard work. And then for people to just say, that was just, who did we beat? We beat Canberra. We beat the Roosters. We beat Manly. We beat the Warriors. Basically should have beaten Penrith. And I felt like we won it. Felt like we won it. All right. Beat South twice. Haven't done that for a long time. Beat Para twice. Haven't done that for a long time. Beat St George twice. We've been doing that for a while. Beat Newcastle twice. We've done that again. Now you can sit there and say, oh, they're all bottom four. Beat the Titans twice. They're bottom four last. But you still got to beat them. And you know, a lot of the time, they're fighting for their season. A lot of the time, these teams had not had a win for ages, you know, like that. They were due. And they put up some good performances. We shouldn't be dismissing any win, ever. It's hard. Ask the West Tigers how hard it is. You can sit there and say, oh, they're just a rabble. Give this fucking competition some respect. It's a tough competition. And the people that fans hang shit on would just absolutely annihilate you. Reece Walsh would knock you out, Brian. Galvin is a poor defender and puts a lot of pressure on Crichton. He now has to defend for Galvin and Tuala. He doesn't have to defend for Galvin and Tuala. But I already said that before Galvin come into the club, Brian, if you were listening. You compensate. The Broncos had to compensate for Darren Lockyer going to 5'8". How many comps did they win when he did that after he went to 5'8"? 2. They won 2. He played 5'8" in Origin. He'll be an immortal. But he got protected. Tony Carroll protected him. So we've got Preston out there with him. It's not just Crichton, it's Preston. It's an edge. It's Preston, Galvin, Crichton, and then you got Tuala. Or Carraz, mainly. It'll be Carraz next week. It'll be Carraz this week if Montoya's not playing, and I think it'll be Carraz anyway. They put Carraz against Marky Mark because Marky Mark the week before scored 2 of the best tries in the air that you'd seen. Oh, well, and they try to defend it. Don't give me a jump shit again. But Tuala isn't in our best 17. But he's done a really good job and he deserves nothing but respect. And I'll tell you what, Crichton's not defending for both of those players. So stop putting shit on the coach and the club because you think that it would have been better the other way around. I don't care. Give it a rest, mate. Go somewhere else and do it. I don't want to waste any more time on it. I know what Galvin's deficiencies are. I've been talking about it. But they're not that big a deal, you know. Most halves, like Toby got to a point where he's probably hitting blokes harder than most halves in the comp. But he just doesn't threaten enough. You can see clearly when Galvin's got the ball, teams are way more on alert. And don't talk about last week when he's sitting there setting up pressure, turning it inside, doing all that stuff, getting repeat sets, getting it all. That's all the game plan, mate. That's all the game plan. And then when we build pressure, then he comes into his own. Gets early ball out to players, short balls, late balls, whatever. He seamlessly just moves from left to right whenever he wants. There's a lot of upside with the kid, and he should not be talked about in a loss where Max King made 40 metres. You just don't talk about your halves when that happens. Yeah, you put one long. So fucking what? They're under more pressure. He kicked better than Cleary did in Origin. Put it that way. Good old fella, Dave. Oh, yeah, don't use illness as an excuse. You've played high-level sport with COVID. I don't give a fuck what you've done and performed, mate. I couldn't give two shits what you've done. We've all been sick. You got to, it's on your individual fucking merits, mate. If Max King makes 40 metres, there's something fucking wrong, Brian. Do you not understand that, mate? So shut the fuck up. In fact, if I hear another fucking bullshit comment from you, you can just go. And anyone else who wants to join in can go with you. Because it's not about views for me. I couldn't give two fucks. This is our little community. It's our little echo chamber of love for our club, right? And that's what it's about. Supporting, not sitting there and just taking the piss out of everyone. Yeah, I've been sick and played better when I've been hungover and played better. I know what you mean, mate, but do not think for 1 minute that you know, right, what they were going through out there. You don't know what injections they were getting. You don't know nothing. It's not an excuse. It's a reason, and the reason has been provided, and that's all you need to know. Jacob Carraz doesn't make 80 metres unless there's something fucking wrong, mate. Otherwise, you might as well just hand the comp to the Roosters now, if they're that good. No, they didn't give up either. They didn't make excuses. They were sick. And sometimes that can fuck your performance right up. I do love your comments, Brian. G'day, Jay Pizzle. There you go, mate. Thanks, Pete. He's the guru clown. This is elite sport. Coaches are all searching for the 1% increments in performance to make a difference. That's why any team can beat anyone on their day. 100%. It's like, are people fucking stupid? Like, every week, it's like such and such upset such and such. Oh, I didn't see that coming. What do you mean? It's been happening every fucking week. A team that just got flogged has had a bounce back factor, or a team's had a whole bunch of players come back. It's hilarious. Yeah, me too, mate. We'll see, Mick, if your words come true. Let's see if the mighty Bulldogs can topple the Storm. Just judging based off last year's performance, we were closer to being Storm last year than Penrith. Yeah, well, last year we had a much worse team on paper as well. So there you go. We forget they progressed a lot sooner than they planned. That's true, ZDK, and welcome. And this is what I say all the time, my friend. Be happy that your team's in the top 4, running third with 3 weeks to go. Much better position than we've been in a very, very long time. It doesn't matter if we're first. We had Origin. We had, as I said, when players get picked for Origin squads, when you have some of your best players missing for most of the season or for 4 weeks at a time and 6 weeks at a time, it has an effect. And the players we're relying on, some of them wouldn't get a start in most teams, let alone probably not even in the Titans, right? We've progressed better than most people thought. Demetra, welcome. Do you think the reason we are losing is due to reshuffle for Galvin? 100% no, Demetra, and welcome. Hope everyone's well. Say hello to John. Beautiful man. Definitely not. We're not really losing anyway. We've had a few losses. West was disappointing. But it was a weird game. Lots of stoppages. And last week, our players were sick. Simple. A couple of key players were not right. You know, Jacob Carraz doesn't make 80 metres and look for shortcuts. We know it's not an attitude problem. It's not I'm too good for everyone now. or I'm upset because Galvin's here. No, they weren't well. Well, they had a bad injury. Max King doesn't make 40 metres. Let's understand this. Look, you look at it and you go, oh, don't lie. They say. Well, sometimes they do. So they're not feeling well, so it's harder for them to get up. They stay a bit longer. They flop. They do all these things that give away more penalties. The other players get more tired trying to cover for them. It's a collective effect. You can call it excuses all you want. They're reasons. And this side, well, put it this way, we're not too small of a pack. We seem to be big enough when we win. Montoya plays, what side will he play? I reckon he'll play left edge, my friend, outside of Bronson Cherry. And Bronson was probably our best back last week. He ran with power and vigour. And he dented the line nearly every time he ran it. I reckon if the Dogs can play at 85%, we can win with minimal penalties conceded. The rumour online, it probably came from the kennel, thekennel.com, where a lot of people hang out. Some of the greatest Bulldogs fans I've ever seen. They make rumours last year about, the Kraz didn't want to play wing anymore. He was sick of being a battering ram for the team. And that someone did someone's girlfriend and all this sort of shit. Honestly, I couldn't give two shits for rumours. No. I know Ciraldo and Gus have disagreements about players that he wants to keep. And Gus says, but he's learned it's about value and roles. And he's cool with that. He wanted to keep Averillo. He really did. As did most of us. There were all these people who said Averillo can't tackle. Okay. Yeah, he will be the greatest kicker, Brian. Damo 5960. Do you think if we win the next couple of weeks, Ciro would rest and freshen up a few of the boys? Yeah, I think he might. For the last game against the Sharks, I'd hope he would actually. If we beat Melbourne and Penrith, but I'd like to see him rest Kickow and Preston, which would be a big call. I think you got to keep Burton humming, and I'd keep playing Galvin. I'd keep playing Hayward. With the Hayward and Marnie thing, if it's me, I'm starting Marnie, and after 20, 25 minutes, bringing Hayward on. That's what I'm doing. But for the benefit of our club over the next 3 years, he'll get so much more starting in these games for the next 3 weeks than he will doing it in the preseason. And I think it'll benefit our club a lot more if he does. Because we don't really have who are the other hookers that are ready to go? Not too many in the squad. That's something we've got to sort. What do you think the game plan is to coach jumping in the air? Sorry, that was asked to me earlier as well. There's nothing you can do. You've got to manage the ruck and ensure that they don't have the time to do pinpoint kicks. Because if they do, he's going to be very hard to beat. But if you do everything you can to prevent these kicks, they then, don't do that and they pull your pants down other ways. So if you start worrying about one play, if we're going to concede 2 tries off Coates in the air, that's fine. We just need to make sure we score 3 or 4 tries. And look, I'm glad they don't have Will Warbrick. But this other young fella can catch a footy. Don't you worry about that, Anderson. So Nick Meaney can catch a footy too. Like Elise Katoa can catch a footy. What do we got to do? We got to get our defensive mindset on and our kick chase on and make it really hard for them to get out of their own end. Wherever they start their set, make sure they don't make more than 20, 30 metres and make sure that we pressure their kickers and get Connor Tracy running it back at full steam. That's what we've got to do. And we're going to get our kicks to Xavier Coates. We're going to belt him, compete with him on a couple as well. Get him, get him feeling a bit nervy about it. That sort of stuff. Getting him off his game. Kick to him, even though he's more likely to defuse it. Smash him. Make it so he's catching it and getting tired and getting his legs tired. Taking the leap and the spring out of his legs. Easier said than done. Seen teams do it though to players like that. I have. With the dominance of these big high jumping winger centres, I reckon the days of the short winger is coming to an end regardless of talent. Keep getting out jumped every kick. Yeah, well, as long as they keep the rules the same way. If they make it that you can compete, and if you don't get the ball, you're able to grab on and hold them mid-air while you're in the air. Because I don't think that's really that dangerous. In fact, you're probably endangering yourself more and cushioning their fall. Like, I've seen people do that. I've actually seen it live. It was in an AFL game where they've gone up to mark and they've tackled him in the air, like both tackled him in the air. And when he's come down, his elbow has, gone straight into his bloody sternum area and cracked his sternum. I think it punctured a lung and all that sort of shit too. Like, person thought they were going to die. So it's pretty full on. And you're just not stopping these blokes. When they put the ball on your head, you're just not stopping them. We saw Zach Lomax just getting absolutely beaten in the air by Coates. And Zach Lomax is probably one of the best as well. You'd probably say he's better than Carraz catching the footy. Carraz is pretty good. But he was no good last week, so it wouldn't have mattered. And Ari is probably our best chance. Brian, I told you, keep hanging shit on our players, mate. There'll be no love. Mahmoud Harez, I agree. Curran needs to go back to New South Cup to find some form even for a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens there. He might be one that goes. Montoya's all right in the air. But he's not stopping Tupu or Coates. Boys will live for this game. Storm will hate playing us after getting smashed last week. 6 foot 304 kilos. Well, there you go. I like us going in as underdogs. Undefeated, brother. Undefeated. The life of Brian A. Mick. I'm thinking about the song. I always look on the bright side of life. The dies ya. Worried about not being able to put more than one good week together. And I notice when teams start getting on top of us, it becomes very hard for us to turn over the momentum. Look, there's been a few, the losses have been weird for the most point. Penrith, you take that game out. The Broncos game, we knocked the ball on. Preston drops the ball off the first hit up. Marnie runs out of the line inexplicably for their first try. Then they end up with 2 or 3 40-20s and 2 sin bins to lead us 34-0. Second half, we absolutely dominated them. They had nothing. They scored with 8 seconds to go in the game. And but we expended so much energy, and it was in the rain. And most of our losses have been in the rain. So when you're chasing the scoreboard in the rain, it's so hard. It's because you can't build pressure. And if you've got a team where you've got a lot of little fellas that are, using their leg speed and taking hit-ups, and you got your backs doing a lot of the work, they don't, they come up with knock-ons because the big boys are able to get hold of them and the ball pops out. And that's one of the issues that we see. So, yeah, look, I'll make myself bigger for a bit. But a really good question. Or a good observation, but yeah, it's mainly been in the wet. That's the first sort of dry game where we've had points put on us. But as I said, there was plenty of reasons. When you're seeing some of our best yardage getters not make yards, it's not because they're being dominated. Well, they were dominated, but it's because there was something wrong. There had to be. And yeah, and if we've got players that are busted, the coach said that, they better train well because they won't play from now on. You want to bring Brian on, Rhett? No. Bring Brian Dibb on, Mick. I'm too expensive. 1 cheese pizza and 1 Pepsi Max. There you go, Brian. No pepperoni, bro? Are you vegan? Key to winning, hold the ball, no piggybacks. Pretty simple, eh? G'day, Mr. Ed C. Pepsi is atrocious, full Coke only. No, I like both, eh? But that's me. I'm a bit of a fat fucker. I just, I like me Pepsi after KFC, and I like me Coke after Macca's. And I do rate cheese pizza, though. Underrated. The key to winning is kick out, said in his press conference, run hard, tackle hard, and complete sets. That's pretty much it. It's a funny game that we oversimplify. Complete sets, and that's all I want to see. Go out there, do that business, and break teams down, and the rest holds up for itself. It's proven to work against good sides with big packs. Mick has a stash of Pepsi Max. He was downing one before. G'day, Macca. You're locked into the stream now. Oh, well, you would have seen a little bit of me going off. I'm nearly catching up. I've made about 5 minutes up on the chat. Yeah, man's got a good tackle percentage. That's good. Tackle percentages. Jake Turpin's probably higher, about 98%. The tackle percentage, sometimes there's people with high tackle percentage, but they have a lot of misreads. And that, if you don't get a touch on the player, it doesn't count as a missed tackle. Which is ridiculous. Timmy says, good evening. Remember round 4 this year against the Sharks until he absolutely folded Toby Rudolph. Yeah, I love that. That was I couldn't believe Satili Tupanua this year, the way he started was he's never been as aggressive as that. He's been a bit of a flat track bully, like against teams that weren't that good. He just dominate as a player, coming off the bench or whatever. But yeah, as a Bulldog, with what we saw in those first few games, as I said, he's always got a mistake in him. But yeah, I really love the way he played in his first few games as a Bulldog. But the problem has been since that Broncos game is just he hasn't been able to get back on the paddock. And then when we got him there, he was got another injury. G'day, Jason. Welcome. Sick of Gordon Tallis always speaking negative about the Bulldogs. As I said, Gordy holds grudges, mate. And and he still hasn't got over 1995 when he played for the Dragons, and he felt that the Dogs cheated and won. Brian's keyboard needs a rest. Reece Walsh would knock you out, Brian. The team is missing Mongrel, Bulldogs, DNA, Deedman, Toya, Marnie, and Tupanua. Yeah, well, look, Mark, I don't concede that Marnie adds more Mongrel than Bailey Hayward, but I think we need Bailey Hayward to feel that pain and to develop that, okay? And it's a good time to do it. We've qualified. He brings other things to his game that we can leverage off. And Mongrel's important. We didn't have much of it last week, and there was reasons for it, which we've seen. And sometimes you can be sick and it doesn't matter, You can have a virus, you can have a gastrovirus go through, and and then your fight or flight comes in and you end up surprising yourself and winning the man of the match. I've seen that too. But it was obvious. Our big man King. Do people just put that down to, oh yeah, that's just Max King? I heard one of these guys who just frustrates every time we lose or only just win. It's because we're too small in the forward pack. But it's just, he's just like, oh, that's just Max King, He's proven showing up in Origin when he started. Oh, God. He didn't really do anything wrong. He had a good old crack. His first Origin series. Gus probably doesn't pick Max King. Gus probably picks Terrell May. He picks 80-minute players. Even though, Terrell, take 20 hit-ups and make 4 metres on some and 8 metres on others and 10 on others, Yeah, well, that's it. But that's the whole point, Brian. Reece, well, that's what I'm saying. Reece would knock you out, mate. He literally, I get to see Broncos train a fair bit sometimes, doing my job. And don't get your phone out around there. They fucking security snipers come from everywhere. But these players don't fuck around. Like these little guys would smash most fans. Big blokes too. Absolutely annihilate them. They're tough. A lot of rugby league tragics would say the players are although it's cleaner now, these athletes, they box all the time. It's part of their regime. They can. It's a different type of fitness. I mean, if they have to get in a ring with someone, it's different. I know. But yeah, I reckon Reece Walsh, with one hand, with his nails done, would beat you, Brian. Just with the shit that you say. Even if you were 6'7" and 187 kilos, I reckon he'd absolutely flatten you out. Tahi, hard one this week, Kia or Mick. G'day, how you going, brother? Yeah, Mark, don't you start, eh? No, they're not. People aren't entitled, right? Not on my group. Not on my. I'm a fucking dictator when it comes to this, mate. I don't care, and people, I think they understand that. I could be sitting here with 3 fucking viewers, wouldn't worry me. We'd be having a chat, and I'd be saying the same thing. Might be sitting on my own one day. I don't give a fuck. But I'm not going to put. I'd rather fucking keep things for what I want. I do this for me. Like Dolph Lundgren in Rocky 4. He wasn't fighting for Russia. He was fighting for himself before Rocky punched the fuck out of him. Oh, sorry about that, Tahi. But look, man, as I said, no Mitch Barnett. No Mitch Barnett. No, oh, mate. No halfback. who I really like. I definitely would have bought him if we could have. A few years ago, he's on my shopping list with Josh Curran, with Terrell May, with Mitch Barnett. Players I would have liked at the Dogs. Metcalf. But yeah, you guys just didn't even have a chance. And I know there was a few 50-50s and that, but you just didn't have a chance at all. Like the Dogs just composed, patient. We're going to take all day to win it if they have to. And yeah, the scoreboard flattered you, man. Really did. I don't like the Kennel inviting that Dragons bloke on and reckons the sun shines out his backside of all his knowledge garbage. His name's Dibbo. Is that you, Brian? Are you from the? Is that you? Are you the Dragon supporter, Brian Dib? I actually like Dibbo. I think Dibbo actually he's better. He's got more knowledge of the Bulldogs, I find, than Elmo. Sometimes Elmo's getting better, but I think he's doing his homework a lot better and he's less outraged. But Brian's a prick to his own team. I don't even know if his name's I'm calling him Brian now. Dibbo, he's a prick to his own team. He's worse than Brian, the Bulldogs. And g'day, Brian 30104, the good Brian, the best kind of Brian. The game plan to stop Coates will be discipline and field position. Other than that, you can't do anything about it. You can't really. Look, Penrith took them out of the game a fair bit last year. They made it hard for the Storm to do that sort of stuff. But the Dogs just got to give away a penalty or knock the ball out. Punch it out. They got to fist it, is what Fletch said today on SEN. Carrazza's got to get in there and he's a good fister. G'day, Dave. Hey, David. Well, that's what the coach said after the game, though. He said, that's my fault. Players, look, it's a two-edged sword. It's psychology, bro. It's okay. Well, you're sick. I used to say it all the time to my people. Oh, if you're sick. Tell me you're sick. They get on the phone and they'd try and leave a message because they didn't want to have to talk to you. Oh, I'm sick. I was up all night. I had to do this and I vomited and then my friend come over and then, he fucking vomited as well. And then I had to look after my kids and they vomited and I pissed and shit. Anyway, So he's got players that are like, oh, coach, I'm just so sick, but I must play. I'm going to play. I'll be right. I promise I'll be right to play. And the coach is like, okay. Well, if I can trust you, if you're going to promise me you're going to come out there and perform, all right, no probs. I'll forgive it. But come on, get through the session. And then they go in the game and they fold. So he goes, that's my fault because I trusted you guys to basically deliver on what you promised and you didn't deliver on it. So that's my fault. So I'll take that trust out of your hands now. So it's not an excuse, and he never made an excuse from it. He took complete accountability that as the coach, he gave those guys the ability to, basically, not achieve expectations with their training, but to repay that faith on the field, and they're unable to do it. So, no excuse. And he took ownership of it, and he said that'll never happen again. Now, the media didn't realise there was like an illness went through the joint, okay, and affected like 4 or 5 players. And there were a couple of other injuries as well, right? Which I'm not going to tell you about. I don't really know, but maybe I do. Who cares? But it doesn't matter. I know there was illness. And when that happens, it's like, okay, well, I fucked up. I didn't didn't withdraw the players. I could have put other players in. And, yeah, it's never happening again. So the response is they all go to training, everyone gets through it. And if someone's not right, they're probably just going to pull themselves out and say, I can't play. And be a man about it and be responsible about it and put the team first, put the club first, rather than themselves first, which is exactly what he was pinpointing at. He's like, these guys have put themselves first. And the coach is also taking accountability. I put myself first because I trust these blokes. They're my origin players, some of these guys. They've been my best performers. They've been recognised for it everywhere. And they absolutely got destroyed. And that's what happened. Karaz, King, Curran played the most minutes of all of them. He never stopped trying. But and whether he was injured or sick as well, I'm not sure. But he obviously was probably trying to do too much as well, which gave away more penalties. King gave away 2 penalties and a 6 again. Curran gave away 2 penalties, 2 knock-ons. A couple of the penalties, it was like they both did it at the same time as well. And then there were those weird ones that happened, that the touch judges got involved in. So that's the problem right there. So there you go, David. And if they're busted, all players are busted. But they want to win a comp. They want to win a comp. How do I say it? The coach and Gus know that winning a comp is going to be fucking difficult. Like, probably more difficult than what we think it is. And we think it's pretty difficult, I'm sure. And they know winning next year is going to be difficult without a Reid Marnie there to help with that progression of Bailey Hayward. But Reid wants out. Gould doesn't make people stay if they want out, especially while that negotiation's happening. Like, Reid wanted out, he's going. We just need to get out, line everything up. Okay, well, Bailey, he must play. And he deserves to play. He's earned the right to play. Do we lose stuff from it? Well, we don't just lose Mongrel. That's the thing, Mark. We just didn't lose Mongrel. His speed of pass is nowhere near Marnie's. Turpin's is faster. Off the deck. All right? But he does have other things that he brings to the table. I don't feel it brings us on parity, but I think we can manage it. Where we're weakening in one area, I think we're strengthening in other areas. And there's a lot more belief there. Okay? They trust Bailey's going to go out there and give it his all. And he's going to have lessons, and he might have a couple of bad moments. But this kid, I know for a fact, right? This is a fact. They believe this kid is a generational player. Now, you might not see it. Some people may not see it. The stat sheet's not going to tell you that. But he has got a lot of game and a lot of football now, and he's driven. He's smart. And, as I said, this kid could be someone that evolves into a great player without us even fucking realising it fully until it's sort of happening. Next minute he's being picked in a rep team. Oh, the opinion of this kid's high, and it's a high across the board, actually. But as a hooker, he's not in the top 3 hookers. So when Braithen Astor's sitting there on NRL 360 asking Brent Reid, so you're saying that Marnie's a better player than Bailey Hayward? Are you saying that? Well, I'd probably say at this point, as a hooker, yes, he is. 100% he is. But they've got to put the club first. That's the mantra. Club first, team second, individual third. And I think it's the right play. And it doesn't really matter what I think is also what I say as well. And it doesn't matter what you think. What matters is what the club thinks. If they think it's the right thing to do, I'm going to back it 100%. Knowing that they'll get it wrong, they'll get it right, they'll get it wrong again, and they'll get it right again. I'll sit on the fence. I couldn't give a shit. I just want us to do well, and I'm going to back the players that are on the field every single time. You know, I couldn't even hang shit on Ben Chizawowski. That was hilarious watching him back in the day, I tell you. The Bulldogs can win another comp. We will officially be one of the most successful clubs in history, I believe, if we're not already. We are one of the best already, bro. We're the big club, man. Big club. And not just when we win. And that's the thing. They talk about the silent fans. There's a lot of fans out there that don't say nothing. Fans like Ross Palmer's back in the day, his mum and his dad and whatever else. And Ross has been around, I can tell. So as his one comment, two at the most, says his thing keeps moving, you know. There's fans out there really appreciate the positivity because they get drowned out by just all the outrage and all the noise. So if you're contributing to the outrage, you're the one who's putting pressure on the players' families. Whether you intend it or not, that's what you're doing. You go put it out in social media, you're hurting people. Go to the game. Boo them there. Boo them. Like we used to. If they didn't turn up, we'd boo them. If they were sick or been on the piss or had a hard day at work, their missus left them, we didn't give a fuck. They didn't play well. Boo! Only if they were doing it all the time, you know. Not if it was just one game. Come on, pull your finger out your ass. It didn't matter. There wasn't the social media after it. But now there's just so much social media. These young guys, it's easy to say, oh, get off social media. The fucking silicon's attached to their face, to their eyeballs. They can't escape it. So I think we can just be better in that space. And look, you can do whatever you want, but here you don't have. I don't give a fuck. There's no freedom of speech here. Terrell May, I find slightly overrated. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Fair enough call. I used to say Steve Price was overrated. Oh, blasphemy. Just for the amount of hit-ups he used to take, the amount of... I'd be like, oh, he's running it for a second time. Let a whole mate run it. But I also didn't understand things as well back then, you know. He was doing that to, you know, he was taking that extra hit-up, especially as he got older, because that would freshen up his more attacking, more menacing player in an attacking spot, you know. And that would mean they're fresher for that big moment. So he did the work. But I never used to get that. I'll be like, share it around. Love the Rocky reference, Mick. You'd love May and Barnett at the Dogs. Bit of yin and yang. Mitch Barnett reminds me a bit of Steve Price in his older years, to be honest. I agree. I like Dibbo. Elmo, not so much. No great game plan. We just couldn't adapt the right ideas for the wet weather, Mick. Yeah, well, that's the thing I forgot to mention, Tahi, is that I went and did a bit of a deep dive on the day of the game, the morning, and the Warriors have a worse record in the wet than the Dogs. The Kettle Podcast didn't do their podcast tonight like usual. Oh, they must have had something on. Say something's gone down, something personal or whatever. Hope everything's all right. Dibbo was at the airport. That's the rumour. You are Dibbo, Brian. You're a St. George supporter. I know it. Honestly believe they could just jump up high and knock the ball back when Coates is trying to catch it. They always do it during short dropouts. Why can't they do it against Coates? Because you've got to run back. And if your wingers run back, right? They don't kick the ball. They see that they've got the space and they run it, mate. You can't prepare for it because if they would, they would. It's just it takes a special player to do something like that. And if they keep doing it, they'll pull their pants down in another way. Trust me. I know this shit. Crows is a good fister. Was not a sentence I thought I'd hear today on you, Mick. That's all right. It's from Fletcher. Brian Fletcher. All Brian's a bloody funny bastard, aren't they? And that rain, no wonder the lads were sick. So there you go. We aren't beating Melbourne this week without some changes. A turtleneck? Ah, it's my hoodie, bro. But it's not about the changes, Mark. It's not about the changes, mate. We can beat Melbourne with that team. You know why? Whichever team that Ciraldo picks will be the best team to beat the Melbourne Storm. 100%. And they'll believe that, and I'll believe it too. And I'm happy to be indoctrinated. But look, I'm not one of these people who goes, it might seem that way, right? But, you know, in Gus we trust, get on the bus. Ciraldo's going to deliver for us. You know, they make mistakes. I know they do. But that's part of fucking everything. Bellamy makes mistakes. And I'll tell you, Ciraldo's record so far in his first 3 years, I think he's about 2 wins less than Bellamy over that time, meaning at a really bad start. And Bellamy inherited a lot better. But yeah, Ciraldo's developed way more players than Bellamy had at that point. So he's going all right. I'd probably also say Ciraldo had a much longer apprenticeship, although Bellamy had a good one under Wayne Bennett. So yeah, that's how you can only sort of compare Ciraldo and Bellamy and the best coaches. He's not there yet. He's going to make mistakes, and I'm going to back his mistakes, is what I'm saying. Not sit there and criticise him publicly. How's that help? You got this dickhead. What's his name? JB, the Dragons dude. He thinks that him bullying the St. George players is made them win the 2 games. And he's got 2,000 people validating him. Yeah, bro, you did that. There'll be a couple of changes. There'll be Montoya will come in for Tuala, and if Satelli comes in, someone will make way. And it's not really axing. They consider Satelli in their top 17. They consider Montoya in their top 17. So, you know, if they make it, if they drop Marnie, that's an axing. Although for me, it's probably moving forward. You know, but if they bring in DSF for Sam Hughes, I consider that strategy more so than axing. Also making sure both of them are sort of tuned, and maybe DSF gives us a bit more aggression. If King doesn't play, it's due to an injury. You know, so there's context around all of it. The changes are changes because they have who they believe are their best team, and they want to put their best team on the park. It's not so much going to be about, you know, axing blokes because they're not, you know, Anari Tuala isn't in our best 17. We know that. There's a bunch of players, though, that are, it's like debatable if they're in our best 17. Curran at his best, Hayes at his best. You know, a lot of people would say get rid of Salmon. I like what I see from our team when Salmon plays. We win more when he's there. Happy with DSF extending? Yeah, very happy with that. known for a while, and very, very happy that it's announced on his birthday. It's good age, so he's about a year older than Leo Thompson, I think. Very similar age. Expected to be one of the best props going around, and he gets another year. That pre-season could be really good for us. Could be very, very good for us to have. I just want to see them not get injured and be able to just get that ability and knowledge, and that they can go for that long distance in a game, because it's our game plan demands it. We're not just going to carry an extra man, an extra massive guy to play 12 minutes when we're evolving into the team that we want to be, And it's trying to name the side for 20. That's a nice exercise, naming your 2027 team. It's a fun exercise. And who are you dropping, It's quite concerning. if you look at it and be honest with what the club, how the club operates and how it runs its salary cap, it's there's some sad things coming, is all I'm going to say. In Webber we trust. Well, I reckon if Pete come on this show and did a segment, I reckon Webber would sponsor us. Like the company Webber would sponsor Pete's weather reports on this show, and probably give it, making all things Bulldogs Webber for Pete Webber to have, out on the water. We'd all be invited. Thanks, Tahi. All I know is I'm trusting the coach. That's it, That's it, Joby. And you'll be on here again soon, my friend. Just because Hayward is a great communicator doesn't make him a great hooker. Yeah, Mark, I know they keep talking the communicating line, but it's not just communication, mate. He's got great line speed. You saw what he did to the Roosters to get our game on, with that run that he did that got us that win, that started it all. And he's working on his kicking game as well, and his kick last week was fantastic. So he started well. And his passing, his halfback passing is fantastic. So when he improves that ground game, right, and gets a bit and builds on that strength in the contact, in the physicality, you could be looking at one of the greats, because he's just got that grounding as a half. And he's good. He throws a good ball. We've seen him throw good balls. He can throw a cutout. He can do it all. It's just doing it repetitiously, and he needs that time. Now, if it costs us a game, no, it's not going to cost us a game on its own. So I'll trust the club. They're putting the club first, is what I'm saying. And I'm glad they're doing it. Because if he doesn't have a good year at hooker next year, I understand they've got to get their value for money in that position, and they know they're going to have to pay some other players some more money. Critter, Burton, maybe Connor Tracy as well if they want to keep him. Phil loves him. Gus loves him. Mitchell Woods will need more money. Galvin will need more money at some point. They're all going to need more money. So, yeah, Reed come knocking on the door, and the door's always shut. Gus knocks on your door, or it doesn't, nothing happens. It's proven. Everyone I've heard about that are negotiating with Gus or trying to negotiate a deal end up leaving. Every single one. He extends you or you leave. And if they've like, yep, keep you on board, we want to see more. They possibly might have even signed Toby Sexton if Galvin didn't come. But I reckon it wouldn't have been for 2 years. It would have been a 1 year, like DSF. That's just me speculating. Bailey Ho was the best touch footy player in the entire country when he was a kid. He's got so many more strings to his bow than we've seen already. That's it, Macca. That's what I mean. People think what they see with their eyes is all that there is. And that's what I'm talking about. When he pulls that left, right, left and goes through the Roosters and offloads to kick out a score in the first time we played them. Now, they were better than that on the other night. They were better than they were in that other game. But that was one of their best performances of the season to that point, leading us 14-6. So, yeah, no one had seen Bailey do that in a game. So if you think that there isn't other strings to their bow, you're kidding yourself. No one had seen Critter get the ball with one hand and go like through the Raiders and then do it again. And then what about the pass? Looks inside. That pass to Carraz, I think it was against the Titans. Takes the space. Beautiful ball. Bang. How many times has he done that? Well, he did it in Origin as well. Something similar. They've all got stuff in their game. How many times has he dummied 3 times and gone through? I know it was Charles Nichol, Klotstack, and he had a bad game, but still he had to do it. People just say, oh, that's just Critter because he's great. No, I'm seeing him do things that he hasn't really done in games for the Panthers even. Finished all the stuff at the Panthers. He did some great stuff with his defence and his little kicks, repeat sets and whatever else. Comes up with all these different things. There's a lot of players in our team who have got that. Even the Harry Hayeses. Even Lipoy. Like Lipoy's scoring a try in New South Wales Cup nearly every week. Through the middle. Running 20 and 30 metres sometimes. Jack Todd stepping through the line, scoring. Now, I know it's only New South Wales Cup, so does Gus, right? That's why they're not in the team yet. But there's all these strings to their bows, and they're going to be part of our team soon. We're just getting started. Get on the fucking bus. Fucking Alfie has Peter. No, see, there's a difference, Brian. Mark doesn't just hang shit on players. He does it constructively in his mind. So he provides actual substance. Whereas you're more likely to say someone is shit. They're shit and write them off. Whereas Mark will just go, I'm not seeing it. Tell me more, sort of thing. Plus, he's trying to get me to speak and defend the player as well. Defend the one that he's having a crack at. It's a bit different. Mark's helping the algorithm. He's helping the show. And you are as well, Brian, because there are people who do want to see me go Nicolas Cage. That's why they're here, some of them. They want to see a bit of outrage. Not this manufactured fucking meow meow shit, which I love, by the way. Hectic Fred's my favourite to watch. Love him. I can fucking yell and scream with the best of them. Ask Pete. He's here and still hasn't come back. Sitting next to me at the Para game. Oh, you're going down, are you, me? I've tried to reach out. If anybody knows, is there a Melbourne? I've asked a couple of people and they haven't got back to me, which I'm not important. Is there anything happening, in Melbourne, like a meet and greet for fans? You'd think they're probably not when they don't do one for Brisbane. Well, they did one for the trial before the Dolphins match, but not in the games. They were down here. But they were a little bit better with the crowd. So the Gulag. I agree. Storm are beatable. You got a stock. We do have the stock, and they've lost to far less superior sides this year. The Storm, okay, and they can lose again. I know it's this time of year, and they're starting to click in, and that was a big win against the Panthers. But look, they lost that game in nearly every stat. The Storm, but managed to win was probably the best thing about it. It was almost a Bulldogs performance from back in the day, you know. I sort of felt around that 93, 94 mark. We had a lot of games where we were just hung in there and won games, outwilled, outlasted, but against sides that just looked flashier and better. I think that's why a lot of opposition fans hate us. Oh, fucking Bulldogs. The shit. But they win. It's because we smash teams and they run out of juice. Who do you prefer, DSF or Hughes? Oh, I think they're two different players, man. But it's hard because I like it when I see DSF in the side, right? But I really like Sam Hughes, and I liked him the first time I seen him play New South Wales Cup for the Bulldogs. Come off the bench, scored a try. He just, he had a couple of offloads. I think he played about 20 minutes. Had eight hit-ups and scores a try. And I just liked it. And he had about 5. Next minute he was starting the next week. He just come from nowhere. Went past all these players that I thought were going to, end up playing first grade, like most people. And, yeah. So I've sort of been a fan of his. But when they said they were signing DSF, I was excited because he was going to be one of the big enforcers to come through, And I saw him, whilst I'd never really seen him do a dominant performance, the fact, that he smacked and Jai Arrow in the face. And then when he went to Souths, he then had a crack at, I think, Jared. So he smacked someone from the Roosters. He just didn't take a backward step. I like that. And that's the sort of player you want on your team. You want that aggression. Where Sam, but Sam's digging in and he's getting a little bit pissed off and a bit angry. And, I saw the Manly guys went after him and he sort of, grit his teeth. The Warriors went after him big time. They absorbed that early and then just went on with it and just, as I said, like a Thai boxer. Felled them out, copped a little bit of what they knew they were going to get, and then they started to get into it. Started to hit the collision and then go again, that sort of stuff, Get some post-contact, and his post-contact's been increasing. Max King's post-contact has averaged a metre more than last year. That's a 33% increase on his post-contact from year on year. And he's had about a 20% increase in metres on year. So, you get better field position in games and hold on to possession. Metres go up, right? That's just an outcome, right? But watching this player evolve and get to that level is just so exciting. And if we can just keep Sam on the field I'd like to see DSF get some more minutes and then be trusted to play a 40-minute game in NRL, That's going to set us up so well for our depth. And it sort of allows us then to be more traditional in some of the positions. You can go, and sort of looking ahead a bit, but you got Thompson and King to start. But you can rotate and give them a break, When they've been copping it for a bit, you can start. And you can carry DSF or Hughes on the bench with Satilli. Maybe Satilli ends up moving into a lock role or moving into an edge role again. if he can stay on the field. You've got Latu coming through. He's got, Macca actually, I think, took some footage, sent me some footage of him where he makes a run, gets a really late offload, and they keep going. And then he takes the next hit up after they play the ball. Like, that's a player you want in your team. I need to find that and I'll show it to you guys. We must back our team regardless of as true supporters. That's it, brother. Keep the faith, trust in the process, and I know we can get the job done against the Storm. Not many can grind out the Dogs. They've earned their reputation for the last few years. Man of 13, DSF starting, Marnie at 9. That warms the cockles of my heart. I'd sneak in Sexton for good measure. Nah, it's not happening, Mark. Unfortunately, Mark, a lot of the stuff that you've said, and then I've let you know, and you've rarely been right, my friend. You've rarely been right. I know that's just a wish list. I get that. But it's not happening. We don't want Man to start. Tell me, Mark, what do we get from Man starting? So, look, energy, right? Energy. Us 84-kilogram human against Oitika Manu, Josh King, Elise Katoa, Trent Liero, and Chan at their peak, right? They're at their peak. What do we get? How effective is his energy when they're at their peak? It's not for the most times. But they will start him if Salmon's not there, because he needs to then take that, and then they need to get the energy from somebody else, right? And I get that as well. But I would rather, and this is why they keep putting Man off the bench, because he brings that flat-out energy when there's a bit of sting out of the game. So you got the bigger boys out there taking the impact of those big boys in with and without the ball. The energy dips a little bit. They bring on some replacements who have got energy, but it's okay, because across the board, the energy is still less than what you're dealing with, okay? Across the board. Lots of hand movements. So Man comes on, bang, bang, into the line, run, gets to the middle, backs back out, starts looking to, create numbers on the edge. Into the line, digs in, cops it in the back, pass. All of a sudden, space, scoring tries on the other side. Force and repeat sets through his energy. How many times? He's not this superior human who's just laying blokes out when he starts a game. It doesn't happen that way. And I've watched it. Yeah, he's tough and he gets in there for sure. And he might get under the ball and force a ball out. 100%. But I'm telling you, I love the way that they utilised Man off the bench. And Queensland did it as well. And he helped them win that second game. 100% when he come on. After about 25 minutes. He was one of the major reasons, because he come on and added that energy and took it out of the New South Wales Blues. And he was big again in the third game. So, yeah, look, he sort of hasn't been at his best since then, right? Since Origin. But he's warming back into it. And look, they might put him to start. If they do, cool. But he has been great for us off the bench. And it's a 17-man game. And I love to see him there. And I've said this to you a million times. Be like, no, man, it's just, it's like some Rain Man shit, I swear. And my daughter's autistic, so I can say what I want. And I'm probably am as well. But, just repeating. Well, best players start. The reserves are on the bench. It's not how it is, man. It's a 17-man game. Surely you understand it's about how you use that 17. Energy. The thing with bleeding youngsters is it gives them notes on where their personal goals are and the confidence to say, I understand. I have the opportunity to start, have my list to work on for the off season. And that's it. They've got to learn where they need to step up. And look, we've been doing that at different points with some players, but these are spine players. So, and it's not like they're being thrown to the wolves. Like they've been preparing Bailey Hayward over the season to do what they've done. They've literally prepared him. That Galvin was a rushed 4 weeks, and then they give him a week off, and then they brought him in when they got the most of the team back. See, that next phase, which we won 3 of the 4 matches in that next phase with Galvin there, and that was about having the best sort of squad they could assemble around him in that position. They weren't going to put him to start at 7. When during that origin period when we had players in and out and stuff like that. Obviously, when Burton was 18th man, okay, well, Galvin and Sexton next man up. Souths were depleted as well. And they were on fire. Could have won by 40 again. But we saw what happened. Waiting to hear from Aaron Warburton about an open captain's run down in Melbourne. He's double checking. All right, awesome. Thanks, brother. Melbourne need the ref to win that one. Everyone is Ronnie soft tipping Melbourne 13 plus. That's it. And look, it might happen. If it happens, it happens. But I don't think it'll happen. I think we'll go very close to winning this match. We should go to the game this week. Could be another wet one for us here in Melbourne. I think the Panthers beating Storm was a blessing in disguise for a Storm don't lose 2 in a row. So it would have been harder for us to beat them this week if they lost last week. Oh, here's the weather report. Here it is. Cloudy, slight chance of a shower in the afternoon and evening. Winds northerly 20 to 30 kilometres an hour. Should be a reasonable track. Dogs by 1 to 12. So there you go. I think it's supposed to rain about 6 p.m. If it does rain in Melbourne, Storms suck in the rain. No. Salmon is about, I think he's 92 or something like that. He's small. Man, it's harder than 2, Salmon. Don't start me. I'll start you, mate. I'll start you. It doesn't matter, Mark. He's more effective off the bench. He lays people out in that second part of the game, plus does all his attack stuff. Salmon's copping the energy. You don't get it, mate. I will start you because you're not right. There's a reason why they're putting Man off the bench. Because it's the best bloody position to have him play. They're only going to start him if they're forced to, if he's like the senior in that role, or if they decide that they're going to try a different tactic, like they did against the Roosters at the start of last year. They started him in the rain, and Roosters didn't know what hit him. He does that, uses his leg speed, goes through and offloads to Burton, who scores under the posts. Right? But they're ready for that. Storm are ready for that. If he's playing at the start of the game, every time he's copping a hit, mate, he's copping more energy from them as well. So, well, you just think he's just indestructible, 85 kilo. He's Superman, is he? Tough, yeah. Experienced, yeah. And he gives more than he probably takes. Yeah, 100%. But he's an attacking weapon. And his leg speed, when the game's starting to open, creates way more opportunities for us in a period of the game when we fucking need it. When the opposition is slowing down and we're starting to tire them out. That's how it works. That's how we've always made it work. And that's the tactic. That's part of our DNA of who we are and who we've built. Man as our 14. And he's earned an extension as that type of role. He is our energy. He is our attack. He is our enforcer off the bench. All 85 kilos of him. Good evening, my adopted dad. Come on, Mark. It's not that Salmon is bigger. He takes the energy out of the game, and the man makes a huge difference. And he's more creative when there's tired defenders. Joby gets it. He's not just listening to me. Joby knows. He's seeing it. He's seeing the patterns. He's understanding it. I think if someone's starting compared off the bench has anything to do with player quality, not defined job, is the smoothest brain surface level shit you can think. Man, he's 32 years old now. You want him doing all the shit work when the opposition is as fresh as possible. What good is he then? They will find him in the line every single run with Stefano when they're fresh. And that's right. It just becomes the, Nafahu White running at Galvin at that point of the game. That'll be at the start. Like Corey Horsburgh running it in Magic Round, running at Reed Marnie and getting 20 metres post contact. They just find the little men. And if they get a roll on, they get a roll on. Salmon, there's not too many going through Salmon. Very good point, Macca. Very good point. Feed him, Macca. Feed him. Even when Salmon is out, Haywood started man's role is set. State of origin in the role. If he has to start, he'll start, Mark. If he has to, he doesn't. We don't need him to. Well, Salmon's not right. Ciraldo doesn't pick Salmon for some ego-based reason, Mark. This is the thing. When people get it in their mind that they know more than the coach, and then they'll say, oh, no, I don't think I know more than the coach. But you do. It's natural. I do too, to be honest. I sit here and think I know everything. Which is why I did this show, so I could show everyone how much I know. For my own ego. Gives me a big flick, Ciraldo's not doing it for ego, any of it. And if people think he is, it's just a shit take. You don't get, when you got family, when you got kids, when you're playing a game that you love, when you're responsible for all these people and you're a coach, which he's a professional coach. And Gus identified it, right? A professional coach. And that was my job title for a long time. Done it at many different levels. Shit at first. Thought I was good. Thought I was good for ages. Realised how shit I was as I improved and learnt more and whatever else. But I'll tell you something now. When you're a coach, if your ego takes over, and I'm able to know this stuff because I recognise it. I recognised it in myself on reflection and on how to improve things. These people, their egos aren't taken over when they're making selections. Because if it is, it's the end. Trust me. Ego can sit there at the CEO level, for sure. Different type of operation. You don't win a fight with the CEO. They always win. Unless the board votes them out. But, coach don't beat the CEO. Yeah, but this is what people sort of think. They go, oh, someone's, Ciraldo's got a hard on for Salmon. How the fuck does he keep playing him? I was saying it about Hutchison. He was doing what was best for the team and for the club. Always. And then if he doesn't do the right, if it turns out that was the wrong thing, he inevitably takes accountability for it. It's not the first time. And you can see with the way that he doesn't bitch about all the ref shit like we do. Only time he's mentioned it was when he could see that, when Jacob Preston gets a hip drop done on him, all of a sudden they relax the rules on it. He's like, I watch Preston miss games for less than that. And then there was like, we were dominating more than 50% of that game, but we got none of the 50-50 calls. He's like, I didn't worry about it last year because we didn't earn the right to whinge about it because we missed 50 tackles and made 300 less metres than our opposition. I've got no right to challenge a ref on that. We go and make our tackles. We go scramble. We win the field position. We hold the ball. We get momentum in the ruck. I expect to get some of the 50-50s. That's the only time he's ever fucking talked about it. Only time. He's accountable. We've got a coach who's fucking accountable. And if you can't see that, oh my God, look at what you can see. He's accountable. Yeah, I know. He talks about his lessons and his learnings and his lessons. He's a master with the media. I get it. Talks a lot of shit to him too. A lot of lip service. And he really, every player that he brings in, they've earned it. They deserve it. They're great. Yeah, I get it. It sounds like lip service, and it is. He's feeding a narrative. The reality is, though, they're there because it's the best thing for the club. And he's got a game plan, and he believes and has the expectation that everyone out there is going to do their role, do it well, and win the game of rugby league. And he's believed that from the start. Okay? It's been constant. As I've said, I've been there with some of you guys who've doubted him, and I think we've all had our doubts at different times with interchanges and whatever else. Why did he do this? Why did he do that? But it reveals itself in time. 100%. But we'll be finishing up in a minute, guys, because I think we've talked enough. It says Melbourne may be flat from the last 2 weeks. Win hard to back up 2 games in a row like that. Very much so. I agree, and I hope so. I'm just saying Doggy's been in the top of the table all season, cannot be written off true contenders until proven. Otherwise, either way, they're in the finals. Joby's not on drugs, bro. Mark, are you on the piss, mate? Honestly, let's put a cup side on at the start. Well, it's quite funny because you were saying that Bailey Hayward should have been the hooker to start last year because he was better in the trials than Marnie. It was you who said that. You. You said Josh Papali should have been the fullback. You said that. It's on Messenger. You said it, bro. No one else. Yeah, Mark. I think you're on the grog again, bro. Time to put the grog down, my friend. Just quietly, because let's put a cup side on at the start to take the sting out. We're being a better team with Salmon on the field. In our squad, we've won more games. That's a fact. Winning percentage is higher with him in the team. Okay? It's for a reason. Just because you can't see it. Yeah, I know he's not the hero player. He's not fast. He's not, man, looks so much better. And he is. I value, if I had to choose between Salmon and Man, I choose Man every day of the week. But I choose Man for that role that he does every day of the week. I find someone else to replace Salmon. who can do what he can do. He's important to our team. If you speak to the players, see, this is probably something else, when you hear stuff from players and from family members of players and from family members who are in the club and they tell you stuff that they've literally heard from the horse's mouth. I know you get Chinese whispers and whatever else, but people, doing their little, I know such and such and I know such and such. When you hear that insight, it helps you understand, and you just wonder how much. Well, it's not that important, but are you actually watching what they're doing? Sometimes you can't see it either. But knowing that how trusted Jamin Salmon is within the club by his teammates, and Drew Hutchison was the same, complete faith. But then when the noise from the crowd gets too loud, we start losing. It'll be Salmon's fault. It'll be Montoya's fault. Won't it? It'll be Calvin's fault. He'll be the next one. It's his fault anyway, apparently. It's just shitness. Understand why. Understand why. Find out why. %, Tahi. The ego is a bad thing. A very bad thing when it comes to coaching. You can't have it. Look, they've all got that rugby league instinct in them and that arrogance. Never said there's no arrogance there. Of course there is. It's different though. If you're going to pick a player because I love this player, I'm picking him. No. In fact, he's probably fucking harder on Salmon than anyone. But I have no doubt about it. People he goes and talks up, be very hard on him. Very hard on him. Is there going to be a captain's run? I'm not sure, mate. Oh, there will be. But yeah, I'll try and make a post on the channel and on the Facebook group because I've got a mate who's been on the show, Brad, who's going down to watch the game. So I'm trying to find out for him. I'm starting to think you on a keyboard is a stupid scenario. Thanks, Tahi. I'm not even going to post your last one, Marcus. Thanks for joining, everyone. Look, some really good stats there. There's nothing between the two teams. Bulldogs have the best record against Melbourne, I'm pretty sure. Probably outside of the Panthers. Excuses? What excuses, mate? What excuses? What's an excuse? I think you need to excuse yourself from the alcohol, my friend. It's not helping you. Just makes you more. So where's your excuse for, you said that Bailey Hayward should have been in our team last year ahead of Reid Marnie. You said Blake Wilson was the best winger in the club. Blake signed with the Manly Seagulls for 2 years, so thank you, Blake, for your service. Definitely not the best winger in our club. But I really like Blake. All right, Mark. If that's how you're going to be, Mark, you don't have to come to the group anymore, mate. You can just piss off. Seriously, mate. It's about to give you me jacket. You made a bet with you. If you were right, I was going to give you me jacket. I would. But yeah, mate, you just being a fucking flop. Seriously, mate. Tipping them by 24 with the current team. Okay. It's been our team for ages. Isn't that the team that beat fucking the Warriors and beat Manly? Hmm? Yeah, he's on the pipe, I think. No, if he's on the pipe, he'd be mellow and nice. Oh, here we go, T. You were here the other day talking about this. Welcome, mate. Dogs won't win a game again this year. They're done. Now all their teams are playing with finals intensity. We've got no chance. Yeah, but I'll tell you why you say that, T. Protect yourself. And no precedent, okay? No precedent means anything anyway. We could win the next 3 games and then lose 2 finals, mate. We can lose the next 3 games and make a grand final. You should realise in the NRL that it's all over the shop all the time. And especially the last few years where they've changed a lot of rules and made the game faster. And they have their little things. But if you haven't listened to what happened, the blokes were sick last week in key positions. And if you hadn't sort of realised that anyway, like I found out about it today, but I realised that there was something wrong with individuals in our team. It wasn't because they were broken from the season or the other teams have ascended so much. Well, no, not at all. But that's you because we lost and it didn't feel good. And the media are going to play on that because you're not the only one who feels that way, mate. You're just trying to be, you're just like written us off in your own head from your own experience, your own life, your own build up, who you are as a person. I'm not having a crack at you either. I'm just saying that's your brain saying this because you hate losing so much and you're devastated that we're not going to win the comp. And you're just trying to prepare yourself for that. And that's okay. We might not. You should go put money on it. While you're at it, put some fucking money on it. Gamble responsibly. Go put $1,000 on it for the Dogs to lose every game this year and double it up every time. And if you win $1 million, fucking well done. I'd probably be happy for you. Put your money where your mouth is, bro. Because I won't be. I'll be backing this Dogs team to turn it around and put in good performances, win or lose. I don't care. It's how they perform, how they try, how they fight, how they scramble, how they compete. If every player's out there doing their absolute fucking best and we lose, so what? Where we've come from and where we are, so impressive. Well done to our club. Congratulations to our club, to our coach, to the players, to all the contributors, to all the believers, and to the haters and the pessimists. I love you too. Why won't we? Why can't we? See, it's just word fucking spaghetti. Honestly, if you're going to write that, give me the context. How are we going to lose the game? Who's going to be the difference? And how's it going to happen? And why won't we be able to stop it? Is Matt Burton not a fucking great player? Is Jacob Crows not a great player? Is Max King not a really good player? What about Jacob Preston, Viliami Kickout? What about Kurt Mann? Josh Curran, Harry Hayes? Are they shit? Are they just going to let Melbourne beat us? I don't know, man. The probability is that you're probably more right than wrong. But it's just word salad, man. It's shit. It's nothing. And I'm not having a crack at you personally, man. I'm just telling you what I think when I read that. Thanks for the service. G'day, Luke. We do have the hardest run of games we've had for a whole season. Will be the best or the worst for us. If we manage to show up really well, we can build confidence in the system. That's the thing, Luke. This is the best thing for us. You want this. Because if we're not good enough, we're not good enough. That's the end of the day. If they, but put it this way: if we do what we do well, the other teams are going to have to be better than us, and that's just not going to just happen. They're going to actually have to go out there and do it. And some of these better teams have had a lot of bad performances this year. Okay, so they're going to have to beat us if we go out there and play well and do what we do well. And most teams, when we get our game on, can't get close. They can't. The Dragons had to complete it, 90% to get close to us. We sent 2 rookies finish the game off. Rookie onto rookie. Like, I understand this shit. This is what we want. We want these challenges. Because if we're not there yet, well, that's where we've got to get to. The only way you get there is by playing these games. It's an opportunity. It's a fucking great thing. It's something to be excited about. And it's to feel good about that we're in these fucking games. Like Friday night is Penrith and Canberra and Bulldogs and Storm. It's like the best Friday I could imagine all year. It's not to be scared of. So we don't need to be scared to lose. If you play, you feel fucking great about it. Look forward to it. Doesn't work out. Yeah, okay. Coach fucked this up. Someone fucked that up. Oh, well, so what? This is the shit we want. We want to be in the big games, and we're here. Embrace it. Love it. And back the fucking team that the coach picks. Because if you know better, go and apply. And stop annoying me with your bullshit. Funny Dogs fans in 3 years saw 2012 and 2014. Totally opposite types of fairy tale runs, ending in the same result both times. As if form line would dictate who deserves to win the competition. And there you go. 2012, the best season I'd seen in a very long time from Bulldogs. Probably the best. And if I had to rate 23 Broncos and 23 Panthers, 23 Broncos are a much more exciting machine for Broncos fans. I hate them, but watching how the tries they scored and how they just blew teams away and the fun they had doing it. And I saw that in the Bulldogs, Benny Barber and all that. 2014, the whole season was just Bulldogs fans just fucking treating the players in the club like shit. I remember it, man. Every week. Tony fucking Williams. Mitch Brown. Like, it's 100 times worse now, the media, but that's what was happening. Mitch Brown. Jonathan Wright. Sam Perrott. Brett Morris is broken again. Why is he playing fullback? All this shit. Oh, they made the grand final. And then it's like, yeah, be careful. I've said this before. Be careful what you wish for, guys. Careful what you wish for. Be careful. You're not going to get excellence by demanding it. Our club is building it. They're doing everything the right way. And that's by making some mistakes and having things they learn by. And the share price is going up. And they can expect it to go a lot higher than it is. So they're not going to go in and, all in on just this year. No way. They've seen. This is why Gus said to the board, don't listen to them. We're not spending $1 million on adding Fanua Blake. The fans that demand, I know. But he'll make such a difference. I know. He will. But that 200 grand, we'll need that for somebody else. We developed 3 players to that caliber over this period of time. And we keep our cap for it. And if an opportunity comes for a halfback or a fullback, that's who we'll buy. In the meantime, we will persevere and we'll hold them to an expectation and they will grow. And you will coach the average player to be the best of his ability. And that's what the great coaches do. They coach the average to be their best. And when you get those players doing roles, the great players don't have to be great at everything and do everybody else's job. Josh Jackson was a great rugby league player, and he had to try and get in there and ball play, which he struggled at. Took away, but then he'd be trying to run lines on the edges. Then he'd be trying to dominate in the middle with his defence. He'd be trying to do it all. That doesn't work. We have Critter touch the ball less than anyone. Come in when he needs to. Does his role. Okay, everyone does their role, does it well. Then when you need that big play, the opposition barely sees it coming. Why? Because it's not, there every week for everyone to see and work out. Yeah, every team's got niggles, mate. I agree. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did that too. But anyway, he loves the Bulldogs. I know you love the Bulldogs, Tian. Mark loves the Bulldogs. Brian loves the Bulldogs. But this is all your own brains. You got to remember that. Watch the patterns, learn from the patterns, see how they're putting the pieces down. No big surprises. And then when something is completely weird, like the other night against the Roosters, where it's like, our forwards are just, what's happened to them in one game? What happened? There was something wrong with them. Oh, okay. Obviously. I don't care that fans are giving up on them. The players won't need them because they believe they can do it more than anyone else does. They're the only ones that need to believe. And they do. We know it. And they have to. Have faith you're a top 4 team, which is never an easy path. No, it's not. Be grateful for it. Be grateful to be top 5, top 6, top 7, top 8. Because I'd much rather that than be fucking bottom 2 and winning 3 games again. Which is what the fans will get if they keep, if they start crap. Which is all I worry about. Destabilisation from dickheads who hold private memberships. They sit there and lurch on Facebook groups and hang around the club and go to the Leagues Club and sit there with their negative shit. Expect the boys to take photos with them and take photos with their kids. But as soon as we start losing, they're fucking, trying to bring down the board and trying to do this and that. Leeches. and they go back to the fucking factory. That's all you got to know. Definitely don't want a soft run in. I feel like our system stacks up well against Storm and Sharks. Panthers will be a mirror match again and really tough. Yeah, but I do think the Panthers know that we're close. But look, Para beat Panthers a couple of times in mid-season games, and then we saw what happened in the grand final. But I just felt in that year, they were a lot better than the Eels across the park, a lot more conditioned. Hope these teams are underestimating us as much as some of our fans. Yeah, I know, mate. I do think Satelli and Matoya will play. Pressure is a privilege. If we don't want big games, we don't want to be good. That's it. I mean, huge achievement, man. Already up to the stage of bleeding in youngsters, which is massive. None bigger than Storm missing their halfback. Sharks missing Boots McGuinness as well. We're only really missing Tupanua and Montoya. If Satelli can play consistent footy, we'll be hard to beat. Night Dreg, have a good one. Thank you. I love the doggies too, Timmy. I know you love them. They'll both play 100%. Well, there you go. Well, I'm off, guys. I need to go to bed and go to work tomorrow real early. Big day. So thanks for joining. Thanks, everyone. Much love from me to you all. Even the people that piss me off, like my good mate Mark. Thanks, old fella. And thank you, Michael. Yeah, don't take it to heart, anyone. But yeah, get off the grog. Have a Pepsi. Stay up all night. Night, Brian. Thank you all. Much appreciated. Go the Dogs. And thank you very much.